So for my physics extra credit lab, I decided to talk about patterns in the natural world, which was the lecture I decided to attend. We were just kind of asked to create a video describing the physics that were discussed during this lecture. Some of the main points that I learned was that our Earth today, we have a pretty open and dynamic evolution, trying to find balance. As we live, nature will continue to baffle us. We find out many new things as the years progress, such as like axial segregation and the Mima mounds, but we're still searching for answers. We can't figure out what causes everything, and physics doesn't have a reason to explain everything. Another thing that I learned was that stability is key in nature and not optimality. An example of that was like a river is not straight. It would be optimal, but the river would eventually overflow its banks. And then another key point that was highlighted in this lecture was that patterns are self-organized and complex, and we can't completely understand them today. So my next slide is what I learned from this lab, and I learned a lot about the axial segregation. We wonder why grains are separated into patterns, and as of today, physicists believe that this is from a complicated and unstable core. So right here we have some examples of stone circles. Those are just 4 pictures that have formed around the Earth today. Stone circles are a natural phenomenon. They're thought to have something to do with the density of the rocks involved, but no physics has been proved about how these circles are formed. And then over here we have the sorted stone lines. These lines are thought to believe to be formed from soil freezing and unfreezing. So those are just some of the things that I found interesting that I learned. My next slide was what interested me. Out of the 3 lectures I attended, this one kind of caught my attention the most. I really enjoy learning about nature and seeing what we find. And I also learned that phenomenons occur in the natural world, and we still don't know why some of them occur. But like I said, we learned about axial segregation, granular media, sorted stone stripes. But we're still trying to work to prove that physics exists everywhere in the natural world. And then another thing that I found really interesting was the beach cusp. Over spring break, a couple of us girls took a trip to Florida, and during this, about a month later after I attended the lecture, I remember that the energy of the wave forms these cups, making it kind of like a self-organizing phenomenon. And so from attending this lecture, I was kind of able to talk to my friends about it, and it just sparked a conversation. So I definitely found that was interesting that I learned about. And that's all.